The attic, filled with the dust of the past, suddenly felt too small, too heavy with 10 years of unspoken emotion. They descended the narrow stairs, their hands linked now, navigating the quiet confusion of the empty house. The last of the estate sale crowd had gone, leaving behind only the cold, late afternoon silence. Finn led Adrian to the old parlour, the room where they had once spent hours lost in music. The grand piano still stood in the centre, a dark gleaming sentinel. The room was cold, but the light spilling through the tall, mullioned windows was a soft, pale gold, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. Adrian let go of Finn's hand and walked toward the piano, his fingers tracing the smooth, cool wood of the fallboard. "This is where we ruined Batch forever," Adrian murmured, a smile touching his lips. "No," Finn corrected, coming up behind him, resting his chin lightly on Adrian's shoulder. "This is where we discovered the sound of ourselves. It's a huge difference." The pressure of Finn's body against his back, the familiar warmth and weight, was a sensory anchor Adrian hadn't realized he'd been missing. He turned in the small space between the piano and the bench, wrapping his arms loosely around Finn's waist. "I haven't felt this present in 10 years, Adrian confessed, his voice low and ragged. "In Chicago, I'm always half a moment ahead, thinking about the next rehearsal, the next flight, the next review." Finn slipped his arms beneath Adrian's, pulling him closer until their chests were flush. "Stay here then, just for this moment. Forget the city, forget the score." He began to kiss Adrian again, but this time the kiss held a new depth, a conversation spanning their entire history. It started slow, reverent, an acknowledgement of the past wounds. Then it grew hungry, urgent, fueled by the decade of separation. It wasn't just physical contact, it was a realignment, like tuning a delicate instrument that had been left in the cold for too long. Finn's hands moved to cup Adrian's face, holding him steady, grounding him in the here and now. Adrian ran his fingers through Finn's long, silky hair, realizing how intimately he remembered the exact feel of it. Finn eventually broke the kiss, resting his forehead against Adrian's. Their eyes closed. He reached back and lifted his hands to the back of Adrian's neck, sinking his fingers into the soft, yielding skin where tension always collected. He began a slow, deliberate massage, working out the knots that Adrian's career had pressed into his shoulders. "You are so tense," Finn whispered, his voice dark with tenderness, always carrying the weight of the entire string section. "It's just my posture," Adrian breathed out, tilting his head back slightly to give Finn better access. "No, it's not," Finn countered, turning Adrian to sit on the piano bench. He knelt on the floor between Adrian's knees, forcing him to look down. Finn took Adrian's hands, spread them open, and examined the fingertips, calloused and grooved by the relentless pressure of the cello strings. He brought them to his mouth and kissed the tips of each finger, a quiet, almost ceremonial gesture. "These hands," Finn said, his voice husky, "they make magic, Adrian, but they're also just your hands. They need to be held sometimes, not just used." He looked up, his slate-colored eyes deep with affection. "I want to give you back the quiet. I want to give you back the time you spent practicing how to look like you weren't hurting." Adrian leaned down, his own fingers trailing the strong line of Finn's jaw. "Don't ever leave me again, Finn," he heard himself say, the plea stripped bare of all pride and professionalism. "I didn't go anywhere," Finn replied, his eyes shining. "I've been right next door, playing Debussy, hoping you'd hear it one day."